Good evening, and we apologize for our tardiness. This is a meeting of the Southfield Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered as a community meeting. There are two opportunities for public participation during the meeting, and comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. The board will listen to comments but may not respond during the meeting. If you wish to address the board, please submit a comment card immediately. Roll call, Ashanti Bland.
Vice President.
Good evening, Leslie Love Smith Thomas, Board Secretary.
Good evening, Imani Johnson, Board Treasurer.
Gerald B. Joyce, Trustee.
Talisha Belk, Trustee.
Jillian Holloway, Trustee.
King Twitty, Student Rep.
Cassidy Tomlinson, Student Rep.
Dr. Jennifer Green, Superintendent. Taking minutes for this evening is Ms. Carolyn Foster, and our technical support is being provided by M1 Studios.
May we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. King Twitty, our Student Board Representative, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public participation. If you wish to address the board regarding a school-related issue that has not yet been resolved by school administration, please submit a comment card immediately. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. As a matter of fairness, speakers with complaints against individuals are asked not to mention any persons by name. Complaints concerning employees pursuant to Board Policy 9130 should be brought to the attention of school principals or other administrators before coming to the Board of Education. Your cooperation is appreciated. Mr. Michael Wynn.
Greetings on this wonderful day and this beautiful month. This month is Financial Literacy Month. And Southfield Library had invited me to come out to speak about Money Smart. Money Smart is an initiative the Federal Reserve put on back in 2004 because of this country's low rate in understanding financial literacy. The literacy rate is about 57% in the United States and only 33% in other countries. And that initiative came through a bill. And each month, we have financial literacy. In Michigan, we have certain weeks. Here in Southfield and Detroit, we have the opportunity to talk to people about financial literacy to gear up that responsibility. So I am pleased to say that this Saturday is the kickoff, and they invited me at the library to speak about it. And we have some connections, and we have the opportunity to reach and work in interactive with our kids in the future to understand financial literacy. So I'm pleased to just announce it. If you have the opportunity, it's from 1 to 3, and it's at the Southfield Library. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wynn. Is it Jolene Sayers? Pass this to Trustee Smith.
I just had a quick question. By the way, my name is Jolene Sayers. I wanted to know what the school board is doing to prevent school shootings. That's what I wanted to know.
Thank you. Next, we have Herman Gunther. You want to bring the mic to Mr. Gunther? Would you like us to bring the? We can bring the mic to you. No problem. Oh, no problem. We appreciate you. We appreciate you always being here. Good evening.
Harmon Gunther, 19101 Green Spruce, Southfield. I'm also president of the Granville Village Homeowners Association. Now, last few times that I've come here, we have a field behind the garden or the old busing center. And there's along the fence line, along the walkway going from Green School to the field are invasive plants growing there. And usually I have to remind the people that do the lawn for you to
Cut them down.
weed back or spray that area, to prevent those weeds from growing. Also, a lot of my residents are wondering what is going to be done with the old trustees. Because you've been telling us that it's going to be a academy of some sort, and then the mayor and the state of the city had just mentioned that a lot of the empty buildings have been contacted by realtors to be sold. So we would like to know what is going to happen to that building. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gunther. Ms. Sires?
Hi,
Good evening.
my name is Charnay Sayers, and I'm a parent. I have 5 students in the district. I wanted to speak about unresolved issues that I've brought to the principal, I've brought to the school, to the district, I've brought to the teachers. Dealing with intensive student support. I heard in the last board meeting about all of the services that were wanting to be offered. On September 28th, I came to the district regarding my students. I have 2 students who have an IEP, one where I've been requesting an IEP for 2 years. Looking at the data, she should have had one. But going back, my one student who currently has an IEP began getting bullied on September 13th. I came to the district many times. I've written to everybody who's probably recognized me. My daughter is still being bullied. The teacher is not apologizing for the antagonistic behavior that she's allowing the other students to impose on her, and the parent was not made aware. And it was expressed to me by the teacher that it was against policy to make the other parent aware, and I had to find her on my own and let her know, and she said she had no idea. She talks to the teacher all the time, and she would have liked an opportunity to address the behavior so that it can be corrected, because she also has a child who has special needs similar to my daughter. When I went to the special needs office today, one of the workers in there said I was unstable and threatened to call security on me because she didn't want to address my need in the classroom for a parapro. I pay taxes in this city. I own a property. My parents own separate properties. My ex-husband owns a property. We're paying over $50,000 in property taxes. I don't appreciate this. What are you doing to get this corrected?
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got 1 minute. I submitted something to the board also with a correction potentially, where I myself will provide my professional service and my colleagues at a price. The Intensive Student Support Unit asked me to volunteer the professional services of the people who are degreed. I expressed to them that that would be unreasonable to ask, considering everybody else gets paid. Again, even that wasn't enough to say, okay, you can come in and volunteer with the students. They made it difficult for me, saying I had to do this background check, which costs money, which makes no sense to me. Again, I've brought this to the board many times, and I hope that you guys can address it today, because this is not your first time hearing about it.
Thank you. This is the same young lady she submitted to. Betty Robinson? Oh, for the second, okay, understood. That is it for public participation. Board matters. I have a couple of board matters. I would like to say congratulations to our bowling team. I think that they have done an excellent job this season. We'll actually be bringing them in May, so I won't give all the details because we'll have them in the room so they can talk about their accolades. I see King smiling, representing his school over there. I'd also like to thank, and you'll hear from our trustees shortly. So many of our trustees attended the National School Board Conference in Orlando, Florida. We're glad you're home safe. I know that you got a lot of good information. Can't wait to hear about it. Also, there is a fundraiser taking place today, tomorrow, and on Thursday at Debo's, which is a wings and seafood restaurant that is owned by some alumni of Southfield Public Schools. If you take the flyer on your phone or if you print it out, we will receive 10% of the proceeds from your meal that you pay for. So thank you to Debo's for partnering with us. Thank you to the staff for putting this together. And I will yield to the rest of, I had one more and I apologize. I want to say congratulations. 5 of our team members won scholarships to the Ron Clark Academy last week, which is absolutely amazing. It was a great event. I believe Ed Hill, Jessica Hines, Portia Eubanks, Mr. Levine, and there's one other teacher.
Not Mr. Levine. Nicole Thurkel.
And then there's one more. We have 5.
We do. Simone Babbage.
Oh, Miss Babbage from Adler, yes. So they all will be getting all expenses paid trips to Ron Clark Academy, which I think is awesome. I can't wait for them to come back and share with us how they're going to implement what they've learned from that academy. And that was all I had, so I yield to the rest of the board members, board matters.
Board President.
Sure.
Just as an aside, I asked Miss Alexandra Cash to go print out a couple of the flyers for the
awesome.
fundraiser. That way,
Yes.
if anyone in the audience wished to patronize Debo's,
For
they'll
sure.
have the flyers.
Thank you. Trustees?
Good evening again. So certainly not to respond to any of the public comments. However, we did hear about a concern for safety. And without going into detail, because of course we cannot, I would just like for the superintendent and her team and perhaps someone from her team just to reassure our community that of our safety, that we have a strong safety plan in place, and certainly to just to make sure that families are feeling comfortable. So I don't know if we can perhaps maybe make a statement today, maybe perhaps on social media, or how we need to do that.
It can be added to the report of the superintendent.
All right, thank you so much. Board President did mention about travel. So there were actually a number of conferences dating back in January that I've yet to report out on, and I'm looking forward to continuing to report out on as we move forward where necessary and where appropriate. However, a success was meeting with our Congresswoman, Rashida Tlaib, back in January in D.C. And advocating just for funding on support of our students with special needs. I think that meeting with her, and since then I know the superintendent has had an opportunity to meet with her. We've just been able to open up that relationship. So I'm looking forward to, especially with her being our new Congresswoman, and with Southfield being sort of a small arm of her new district, I'm looking forward to keeping that relationship open and just continuing to make sure that that she remembers Southfield, and hopefully having her here in the district as well. Also, just recently in Florida, had the opportunity to attend a presentation where Dearborn Public Schools was presenting. And they actually had students there with them. And what really drove me and motivated me to go to their session was their topic was on student voice. and they had a very comprehensive plan, and really went through how they involve the students and the student voice at pretty much every level. And so at an upcoming study session, and as we continue to go over our policies and revise our policies, I would like to have more conversation about what that could potentially look like for us as well. And I can share some of the information that was shared. And then also another session I attended was all around the systems for special education. I know here in the district we refer to it as our intensive student support. And I was really pleased, and I shared with Dr. Freeman that I was going to shout her out, because one of the first things, and it was this, we actually, before we went to this conference, we had a study session where Dr. Freeman went over the manual, is it the manual, for all of the processes within the district, making sure all the checks and balances. And I went to this conference, and that's exactly what they were presenting on, was making sure that you have all the proper procedures in place, all the policies in place, all the systems in place, making sure everything was streamlined. And so I sat there, I didn't say anything in that session, but I was just taking it all in, but I was feeling extremely proud that I said, we were just in the study session, she was just presenting on this. So I'm really glad to know that all of those types of updates are being managed, maintained, and that that we're on track with that. So I just wanted to shout her out for that.
Thank you, Board Secretary. Any other trustees have any other board matters?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Trustee Jill Holloway, and I also went to D.C. as well. I spoke to a number of the representatives there, who was John James, Haley, Tlaib, Slotkins, Senator Peters, and Stabenow. Okay, I spoke on electric buses for our community, for our school district, and they were pretty receptive about the electric school buses, especially Senator Tlaib. Congressman Tlaib. She was very receptive, because she said, if you can't breathe, you can't learn, and the diesel fuel from the electric buses are harming our children. So I spoke on that to all of them. They were all pretty interested in it. Peters was more interested in cybersecurity, but Tlaib was very interested in the electric buses. So that's what I got out of that meeting. I also spoke with Governor Whitmer's Lieutenant Governor, Gilchrist, about electric school buses, and he said there are supposed to be some electric batteries that are supposed to be made, maybe about 500 of them, but I didn't speak to him. I thought he was talking about electric buses, school buses, but that was not it. He was talking about the batteries. So I told him I was going to reach out to him with further information about it, in case he didn't know. So that was my experience.
C. Holloway. Any other trustees with any other board matters? Hearing none. Report of the student board representatives. Cassidy Tomlinson, representing University High School Academy.
Good evening to Superintendent Green, the Board of Trustees, meeting attendees, and the extended community. My name is Cassidy Tomlinson, and I am the Student Board Representative from University High School Academy. For the month of April, here's what University has planned for the enjoyment and the academic fulfillment of its students. Can I take this down? Okay. UHSA's Nesby Junior Chapter had a popcorn sale that began on Thursday, April 6th at 3 p.m. and ended on Monday, April 10th at 3 p.m. MSTEP testing began on Monday, April 10th for all 8th graders. MSTEP testing will take place in seminar classrooms. Chromebooks are required for usage, and testing will begin promptly at 7:45 a.m. MSTEP testing will begin on Monday, April 10th and end on Wednesday, April 12th. PSAT testing for 8th grade students, 9th graders, and 10th graders will begin on Wednesday, April 12th, as well as the SAT with the writing portion for our juniors. All these exams will begin promptly at 7:45. Thursday, April 13th, will begin testing for the juniors' ACT work keys. This will happen in the morning, and in the afternoon, the M-STEP will take place for them as well. Testing will begin at 7:45 a.m., and juniors need to bring their Southfield Public School Chromebook. M-STEP testing for 6th and 7th graders will begin on Monday, April 17th, and will continue until Tuesday, April 18th. This will be a closed seminar day for all students. UHSA's annual 5K will take place on May 20th at 8:30 a.m. Registration and volunteer forms are available in the office or Ms. Navis's office. All forms should go to Ms. Navis for interested students. And this 5K is great because it's in support of lupus, a form of cancer. The University Middle School Academy Student Council meeting will be held on Thursday, April 20th. The National Junior Honor Society will be meeting on April 20th in history teacher Ms. Van Erman's room. Congratulations to Mr. Schexler's seminar for collecting the most boxed food items in support of the National Junior Honor Society Service Project. And Caleb Burks, who was a dancer at the Zone, will be, he was admitted to the Juilliard School of the Arts. He was the first person from university to be admitted. And the current total scholarship amount for high school seniors at university is $3.1 million. Thank you all for listening and have an outstanding week.
Thank you, Cassidy. We will now hear from King Twitty, our Southfield High School for the Arts and Technology Student Board Representative.
Good evening to Dr. Green and the Board of Education. During the month of April, our 9th and 10th grade students will be taking the PSAT, and our 11th grade students will be taking the SAT. It is very important that our scholars take part in these exams because of the scholarships they may be exposed to. Students are scheduled to attend only on their specific testing dates. To provide additional attention to the importance of doing their best, we are conducting an academic pep rally today, April 11th, during school hours. The pep rally will have a variety of small games to be played, such as musical chairs, balloon pop, and many more. Moving forward, our seniors only have approximately 26 school days left. Senior exams will take place May 22nd through the 24th. Graduation rehearsal will be the following day, May 25th. It is very important that our seniors have the desired community service hours to graduate as well, which is 5 hours in total. Our BPA Warrior student represented us as well at the state conference leadership. The places were Ariel Lockett, 2nd place, and Mariah Wilson, 4th place in desktop publishing. Alvin Westbrook, 5th place in his speech. Video production team, QSA, Lucky, Michael, and Ariel, 7th place. And the Statesman Torch Award goes to Ian Blakely and QSA. These awesome students now qualify to compete at the national level and participate in the Leadership Academy and intern program. Going on, the girls bowling team, our girls finished first in their division undefeated. They qualified at the 2nd seed, just shy of the trophy, about 50 pins. Samantha Mason, junior and captain, finished 4th in singles regional qualifiers for the school year, the 2nd year in a row. Girls varsity also won the 1st place trophy in the UD Mercy tournaments. Girls varsity also won the 1st trophy in the OAA postseason tournament at Astro Lanes in back-to-back weeks. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you both. Cassidy, it's a pleasure to hear that number go up every time you report out. King, thank you for reporting. Southfield A&T has a stellar performance in athletics, and you have some awesome scholars. I'd also like to lift something that Trustee Belk brought to my attention, which I thought was extremely cool, and I forgot to mention it. MacArthur was actually recognized by the HBCU alum page. Ira Benson's third grade class did a HBCU project, and they were featured on their Instagram. So I thought that was really cool because that is national exposure. And I'd also like to recognize Caden Chapman and our own Cassidy Tomlinson of UHSA. They were recognized by DAPSEP over the weekend. They gave them a big senior shout out and spoke about their future plans to attend their four-year university. So congratulations. Thank you both for your reports. I know you have a lot going on since it's the end of the year. You are welcome to stay, or you may be dismissed. Thank you. Miss?
Before the report of the superintendent, I failed to mention how impressive the summer learning catalog is. I think we were sitting in Florida, and I pulled it up, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. So shout out to the team who worked on that. It is very all-inclusive, very comprehensive, and I encourage the community families, not only student learning, but family, field trips. I mean, you all really went and made sure you brought in what's happening around the community into this catalog. So I have downloaded it on my phone. It's right on the website. You can't miss it. And so I just encourage, the community to, especially families who are looking to start planning their summer. If you're like me, you're planning your summer already, go and take a look at that. You won't miss a beat because they put it all in. They did the heavy lifting. So, so shout out to you all for that. It is very, very impressive.
Good job.
Yeah.
Report of the superintendent.
Thank you, Madam President. If I may add, we found something earlier today that we will be adding to that collection. Given that we live in the Great Lakes state, we are always looking for exposure for our students to work with either marine biology or anything relative to the water. So earlier today, we found a marine maintenance technician summer academy for students in grades 10 through 12 that will, exactly, very good money, very good CTE exposure, where the students would participate with Macomb Community College. Most of it is online, so they wouldn't have to make the commute. There's just 1 week where they would actually commute to the community college campus, and I am going to be meeting with Ms. Rogers to see if we can offset the expense for our students to participate in this Marine Maintenance Academy. So that's to add to that. Also, I'd like to lift number 5B before our young scholars and student board reps leave, because I am going to need their participation. We have been invited to the Parent-Teacher Association, the state level conference, which is going to be hosted here in the city of Southfield. The state superintendent, Dr. Michael Rice, is going to be the keynote speaker. Of course, we want to highlight our scholars every opportunity we get, so they have asked me for student names, and I asked that both of our student board reps give the opening Pledge of Allegiance. So if they would please join me on Saturday morning, April the 29th, to welcome the PTA convention to the community of Southfield. Okay? I'll give you more details.
I would love to.
I enjoy hanging out with you all on the weekends. We keep working. And Dr. Rice will actually be speaking on Sunday, and I will bring greetings on behalf of the district. That being said, we have a lot of guests here this evening to bring us updates. We had a very exciting last week. As shared via email, we took our Series 1 bonds to market. We had overwhelming success, which shows that the market was definitely in support of the Southfield Public School District. We had 5.2 times the amount of orders than we did bonds available. So joining us this evening, I would first ask that Ms. Carrie Blanchette from PFM join us and provide a financial update relative to our 2022 bond Series 1.
Thank you. Again, my name's Carrie Blanchett. I'm with PFM. Financial advisors, we're the financial advisor for the school. And before I get into the results of the bond, first, congratulations on the passage of the bond. That was overwhelming support. It was wonderful to see, and it really just parlayed into overwhelming reception in the market for these bonds. I've been doing this for over 30 years, and I've only seen a few occasions where there was that much support for the bonds. So the timing was perfect. Your administration and your staff did an excellent job putting everything together, putting the package together. You were rated A by Standard & Poor's, which is a very favorable rating, and that does really play into interest rates. So for this first series of bonds, what the final overall average interest rate was 3.85%. That's over 0.5% lower than the estimates. And what that means to the taxpayers of the school district is $4.5 million less in interest cost. So, that's, passed on. So, I really won't, spend too much time. I don't know, Dr. Green, if you wanted me to get anything else, but really I can't say how much work went into this, and we're also doing some additional work here coming up, and I assume Dr. Green has shared that or will share that with you, but really phenomenal results, one of the best that I've seen. So really, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And the money will be here on May 4th. So,
May the 4th be with you.
So congratulations.
Thank you. Did any of the trustees have questions?
I've asked all of mine.
I just wanted to comment on, you had mentioned it was an overwhelming response as the bond passed and was well received. And I really wanted to reach out to our community again for supporting the initiative and how important it is to make sure that our kids are educated in a space that they deserve. So again, thank you, community, for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things that I would add is that moving our district's rating to that of an A put us in a different market. And many of the decisions that we've had to make over the last several years to move essentially our credit rating, our district's rating to that of an A, they were difficult decisions, but you put forth the effort to stay diligent and be fiscally responsible to ensure that our district was successful in moving to that other rating, which opened us up to another category of the market. And you see Carrie shaking her head, yes, that was a driving factor. We will have to continue with that same diligence as we move forward. When Series 2 comes around, we will have another rating call, and again with Series 3. Now that we have the funds, we are going to continue with fiscal diligence throughout the process to ensure that we not only maintain that A rating, but that we move up in the rating scale as well. So thank you all for your diligence in that. Next, I would like to ask Mr. Larry Bukowski, and I believe Paul Corneliuson is here, our architect, and I'm not sure, are you two the only two speaking on the project updates? And the reason we labeled that piece project status is they will also speak to some of the projects happening in the district relative to infrastructure that are not bond funded. So they will call out those that are bond funded and call out those that are ESSER funded. Actually, all the ones that have started already are ESSER funded, given that we've not received the bond dollars yet. As you heard Carrie mention, that won't come in until May 4th. So Mr. Bukowski, Mr. Corneliuson, you can put on the presentation. Trustees, you should have that in your packet.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Thank you, Board, for having us here tonight. Got a presentation here that I think they're popping up, but just wanted to reintroduce myself to those of us who've met before and introduce myself to those of us who haven't. Larry Bukowski, project manager with Barton Mallow. Been working in the district for the last 5-6 years on some of the sinking fund efforts, and now the new bond program that's upcoming. So Some exciting things to update you on. The first project we want to talk about, if we could go to the next. Oh, sorry. Barking orders, and I'm the one with the clicker. Just want to go over some of the ongoing projects, also some of the upcoming projects, and then have some Q&A if there are any. So really the only ongoing project we have currently is the Lathrop campus. The chiller is being replaced. That chiller is on site. It's installed. It's just the final hookups are taking place. We anticipate that chiller to be up and running by May 1st, although we could have used it today, right? But just some perspective on lead times and supply chain. This project went out for bid, I believe, in late 2021. This chiller was ordered over a year ago. So that's just the nature of the industry right now. This is some pictures of the old chiller being placed on a truck and being hauled away.
Before you leave off of that, we've mentioned it before, and we will continue to reiterate, anything that is currently being purchased for the district will be repurposed in the upgrades that
Right.
we are going to experience moving forward with the bond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. This chiller will be able to cool the campus even after the proposed construction takes place 5 years from now or so, plus or minus, with the major campus overhaul that's taking place there. Yes. Yep. So again, that's the only real active thing we have going on in the district, at least from Bart Mallow's perspective. But some of the upcoming projects, now Eisenhower, this building's been closed for some time, but it really is in pretty good shape for being closed as long as it has. So the thought was, and this was Dr. Green's idea, great idea, is what if we vacate Adler, move those children to Eisenhower, so that the renovations can take place at Eisenhower, that we'll get to later, throughout the calendar year. It's very difficult to do a renovation of that magnitude in just the summer months. So it's a lot easier. You get a lot more contractor interest, which usually means better pricing if you're able to do that throughout the calendar year. So we walked the building with the state inspectors on February 28th. They gave us a verbal list of the things they would require us to do to repopulate that building. We're still waiting on the final handwritten list, but there's a lot of flooring repairs, a lot of finishes that need to be replaced, some site repairs as well as some plumbing, a lot of just little fixes. Adds up to a decent list of work, but nothing too major. We're also in talks with other districts in the area to supply us with furniture for the building that they are also replacing. So that's also in the works. And the goal is to populate this building for the start of the 23-24 school year and allow the work to begin at Adler in the fall.
Before Larry continues, I want to make sure that any of those watching on streaming this live, Dr. Green is going to go into what that physical transition looks like for the Adler community, so I don't want anyone to think that we forgot to explain what that is going to look like for the community, the staff, and the families. So
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Point of order.
Order. It's okay. So while this is this is for the presentation, but the audience cannot be interactive at this time. If you have a question, you can do public participation card for the second one.
Q&A for the board.
For the board, yep. No problem. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to Adler, this is the first major project that will be funded by the bond program. You may or may not know.
Larry, just point of clarification, that is partially funded out of ESSER
Yes.
partially funded out of the board.
Correct.
Again, our minutes, the bond.
Right.
Well, the board is funding all of it, but
Yes.
partially funded out of ESSER, partially funded out of the bond. So I wanted to be clear because that
Correct.
is what our community stated to us when we did the ESSER application.
Correct. So yes, the mechanical equipment required to heat and cool the building will be purchased with ESSER dollars. The installation of those units will be installed using bond dollars. So there's currently a project that's out for bid currently that if any contractors are watching this live, feel free to pick up the drawings and bid on it. Bids are due in a couple weeks, forget the exact date. But so the scope of this project is to replace those, I don't know if there's a pointer here, but on the far right picture, you see that thing that looks like a refrigerator laying on its side? That's called a unit ventilator, and that's what heats and cools the classrooms. Those are being replaced, as well as some other miscellaneous mechanical equipments on the roof. So the air quality inside will be greatly improved. The windows that you see behind that unit will also be replaced throughout the building. The doors on the outside and inside of the building will be replaced. So there's also a secured entry upgrade to the building. So security will be greatly improved at the building. There's also we're obtaining pricing as well for impact-resistant film or glazing on the windows themselves. So I think you'll see a drastically improved comfort level for the students, a more secure environment for the students.
And before
And,
you leave, while you're talking about security, I know that Trustee Smith-Thomas had asked that we address some security concerns, and of course the board understands that part of this bond is updating our infrastructure to be safe and secure. So I think now would be a good time for Dr. Green to kind of
Absolutely.
piggyback on what Larry is saying to explain what this looks like for the district.
So absolutely, a major driving force behind all of the work that we're doing is around that of safety and security. We will, again, rekey the entire district. As Mr. Bukowski mentioned, we are not only getting new windows, but looking for a film that will make it not shatter resistant, but it will slow down anything that would happen with the windows. We witness far too often in the media all these different things that are happening, so we want to make sure that the doors are able to be closed and locked appropriately. We have the proper HVAC systems so that the teachers don't have to prop their doors open to get air. All of these things factor into the equation. We also have a district emergency operations plan that we constantly revisit. It's an iterative process. We work very closely with the Southfield Police Department, the Lathrop Village Police Department, Homeland Security, as well as the Oakland County Sheriff's Department. You do see one of our school resource officers here tonight, Officer Maya. Thank you to you, Officer Hood, Officer Walker, and Officer Jarrett for being in our district every day. 5 years ago when I started with the district, we had one school resource officer, and now we have 4 full-time active every day. So we're grateful to them for their support. We are also continuing to do the active shooter training. We have many initiatives, but the piece that pertains to the infrastructure, our technology team is also here tonight. You'll hear them mention upgraded technology with our cameras and ensuring that all students are safe and all staff are safe within our community.
Thank you. Anything to add on the secured entry components, Paul? Or?
I would just add, because I think one of the parents brought up a very good question on school safety and security, and it's paramount in the kind of work that we do in our office. And if you know these buildings, Adler and Stevenson, you know that the main office, the administrators, are buried within the facility. They're not on the outside walls. They can't see what's going on at the front door. They can't monitor visitors. So we're actually relocating the front office into what was 2 classrooms so that they have a seat at the front door and can really be part of not only the secure vestibule, but visual surveillance is half the battle. And so it's going to be a great upgrade and it allows them to track the visitors and guests that need to access the facility.
And Paul, if I can add, when we say secure vestibule, I think we know because we've had construction
Yes.
talk for the last year and a half. What's going to happen is when any guest comes into the building, they will be buzzed into the building and be stopped. There will be a waiting area. Then the visitor will only be afforded an opportunity to be buzzed into the main office, which is adjacent to that location. It will eliminate guests from walking throughout our buildings and having direct access to our scholars.
Yeah, very good point.
Dr. Green.
Yes. For the doors?
Yeah, for the doors. Will each staff member get a key, or?
I'm just going to interject 1 second, because for security purpose, we don't necessarily divulge who will have a key. That way, that plan, because that is part of their emergency plan, is not for the public.
Okay.
Let it suffice to say that we will keep a very tight inventory on keys throughout the district. What has happened over the years, and I would say over the decades, is too many people had keys in their hands to Southfield Public Schools, classrooms, and other locations throughout the years. And this is a way to ensure that we are having a fresh start and a safe start to keep our buildings and scholars secure as we move forward.
Thank you, Dr. Green.
Thank you.
Anything else on Adler? And as Paul mentioned, the physical moving of the office to the perimeter of the building, you can imagine that's an intensive construction effort.
Right.
So that's why moving the children out, relocating to Eisenhower, really will greatly improve the experience the district has during this process.
To add to what Mr. Bukowski shared relative to Stevenson, relative to Eisenhower becoming a swing space, it will be the swing space for the next 10 years, therefore affording us an opportunity to relocate any school to continue the instructional services for our scholars while we're doing construction. Unfortunately, there are a lot of factors that play into construction, and they don't understand school. Supply chain issues, labor shortages, et cetera. There was recently a school district in Oakland County who was looking for a vacant building at the beginning of this school year to locate their students because their construction project was behind schedule. So this is really an advantage that we will have to continue the continuity of services for our young scholars throughout this construction process. And also, as Mr. Bukowski lifted, will afford us an opportunity to more labor, additional labor, will afford us an opportunity to get the work done throughout the year, which will lessen our costs because the demand will not be as great throughout the year as it will be throughout the summer months.
Yeah, the alternative would be that this project would probably take 2 to 3 years if you were going to do it just in the summer months.
Through the chair. I'm
Trustee
sorry.
Joyce was first.
Adler. You know, and I know every nook and cranny of that building. And it's just good to hear that security-wise, you're changing the front entryway with the offices there. Sounds like that's a great idea, you know, because that building is, I mean, it's old, you know, it was old design, you know, and it was good for the time it was built, but things have changed. And so I just want to say thank you.
So the parking lot is relatively new. You may recall a couple years ago, we put in new parking lots at the elementary schools, and we don't want to do anything additional to the parking lots until we have the major construction complete, because the weight of any heavy equipment may cause potential damage to the parking lot, so we don't want to be wasteful with those dollars. I also want to lift that while this is the initial work that's happening at Adler, it's not all of the work that's happening at Adler. We have to spread out and address the items that are most critical in Series 1, and then we will get to Series 2, 3 along the way. Those things will include the upgrading of finishes, things of that nature, flooring, tile, etc. That is not part of the first series because we need to ensure that our children have proper heating, cooling, ventilation, security measures, et cetera. Then we will get into the niceties when time permits. So I did want to lift that as our community is watching and thinking, is that all that they're doing? No, that's not, but this is the primary focus of Series 1.
Through the chair. I just wanted to swing back around, as Dr. Green mentioned, that this will be a swing space. Eisenhower will be a swing space for over the next 10 years. And it's important that you understand what she means by that, because as we do upgrades and change out Eisenhower so that it is fitting for our scholars, it is also a rate of return that we've utilized the space for different schools so that they can be housed and continue their education. So I just wanted to make sure that our public understood that piece as well.
We do also plan to meet with the community surrounding Eisenhower so that the residents are aware that we plan to bring that building back online, answer any questions that they may have, and also meet with the community surrounding Adler to let them know that that building will be going offline for 1 year.
The next project down the pike is Kennedy Learning Center. The parking lot is in dire need of replacement. So that project is also out for bid currently. Contractors are putting together bids for this work. This building's unique in that it really only shuts down for a few weeks throughout the year. So we actually just had a meeting, I believe today, with the building administration to coordinate how that's going to look this fall when this work begins. So it's going to happen in shifts. We'll be able to accommodate the student population during the project, but the entire parking lot's going to be replaced, as well as the sidewalks leading up to the building. There's a proposed track in the back of the property where students will be able to walk. There's a play area proposed as well. So that'll be an exciting improvement for that building as well.
And as a lift for our community, that building houses some of our medically fragile students, so the play area that we install will be specific for the students in that building, which is really exciting to have that there. There's also a large stormwater retention area underneath that parking lot, so that is going to be a focus of this work as well. And to remind the trustees, this is an ongoing OCR issue that we've had for at least 7 years in the district.
So all the concrete will be ADA compliant. It'll slope properly according to code. So it'll be able to accommodate those students that Dr. Green mentioned a lot better than the current parking lot.
Nope.
Oh.
You skipped one that everyone wants to see, trust me.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. I don't know what happened. So MacArthur, these were, the Lathrop campus is taking place later in the bond. Ms. Blanchette mentioned that, the first series was sold. Unfortunately, it's the smallest of the 3 series in the bond program. So this is the largest project in the bond, but we can't really do it until later.
Not the parking lot, the whole campus.
So
clear.
The hope was to prolong as much work as possible at this campus till we did the whole project. Unfortunately, there's some areas that need addressing before, before 5 years from now, for sure. So there is a project that will be going out for bid within the next few days to address some of the potholes, some of the stormwater catch basins in the parking lot that are failing. There's some sidewalks that are beyond repair that need to be replaced. So that work will be taking place once we get bidders. So look for that to happen late summer into the fall, most likely is when that work will be completed.
And I'm glad that you lift that it will be in the fall. There will be some inconvenience at the beginning of the school year for families going to MacArthur. However, it is a necessary evil in order to get the work done. They stopped making asphalt in November because of the weather. So we are really at the mercy of the bidders, if you will, that do this work to get it done in a timely manner.
Through the chair, Dr. Green, where are we with getting the dashboard, some type of visual onto the website so that as all of these projects start, the community can keep track.
Indeed. In 2 weeks, during the board study session, Plant Moran Cressa will be here to talk about what all of that looks like so that the board can ask for any questions and ask it for any modifications, and then they're going to work directly with Ms. Cash to get that dashboard up. We are ordering 3 GoPros so that I can have it clipped to my hard hat when we go out to the sites and we can record. It's an excellent way to share with the trustees, to share with the community, and keep everyone safe in the process, because construction sites can be dangerous and we don't want to have people on site.
So to the point that you just mentioned that, and I know I said that as we continue with some of our study sessions, I would give more insight. But what you just said about the GoPro, so the superintendent in Dearborn said as part of their initiative for the student voice, the students told him that he needed to shorten his messages instead of doing messages on like Facebook, that he needed to do 1-minute video clips and post them on like Instagram and things like that. So just for consideration.
Absolutely.
With the
Your
little
GoPro.
Yeah, the GoPro there. Put a little video out there, just so that people can kind of feel like,
Absolutely.
they're able to see and be a part of
And
what's
we
happening.
do know that administration quite well. Actually, when Dr. Freeman and I had the opportunity to go on CBS recently to talk about our support services, they too were there. So we do share ideas, and we will be in touch with them. There is a statewide initiative on Student Voice, and we are going to all use the same instrument so that we can compare what all of our children in the state of Michigan are experiencing. So I'll bring that information to the next session.
I noticed that there are 2 slides that didn't make it, but Bussey and Stevenson, I don't know if we want to
Yeah, I
touch
don't
on
know
that.
why
Yeah.
Dan took those out of the equation,
Yeah,
but I'll specifically talk about that of Bussey. I do know that the director and assistant director are here, and I know that Mr. Joyce was at a policy council meeting earlier today, so we want to make sure we have accurate information.
Sure. So Bussey will be out for bid very soon. Very similar to Adler, it's partially funded through ESSER, partially funded through the bond. Same thing, equipment's being purchased through ESSER.
Partially funded through Head Start.
Correct, yes. So same thing, purchasing the equipment through one funding source, purchasing the installation through the other. That is the chiller replacement, so the chiller is not functioning. There's been temporary units there, from what I understand, for the last year or so. Like with the chiller at Lathrop, I mentioned earlier how long that took to get. We expect a similar type thing for Bussey, but the good thing is that unit sits outside the building, so it can be replaced while school is in session. It's not functioning anyway, so we're not disrupting any airflow by replacing it during the school year. So really, how to beat the supply chain and labor crunch 101 is do things when contractors are slow. If we're able to do anything in the fall, winter, and early spring, before contractors really book up for the summer, that's a great way to attract bidders and knock down that pricing as much as possible. The last thing is Stevenson. It's almost identical to Adler in the scope. That is the next project that's planned to be out for bid, planned for construction next summer and fall.
Again, next summer being summer of 24.
24,
not
yes.
2 months from now. And
Right.
that will carry throughout the fiscal year 25. That is when that work is slated. So once the Adler students move back into their renovated location, we will then begin the transition for Stevenson students to move. We also need to consider adding some additional rooms to Stevenson, given that their student population is above capacity. And most recently, we received notice that they will have a school-based health center. The grant was awarded to the individual healthcare center, and we will have to talk about adding another room on the north side of that building for the healthcare center. So we have a lot of work underway here in the district. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Since we were ending with the Lathrop campus, I thought that it would be a good time, and thank you for reminding me, Dr. Green. And I don't see him. He may be sitting down in the back, but Mike, Mike Madigan always sends us awesome articles. M1 Studios is such a great partner. It has been announced by the Oakland Press that University High School Academy will be one of 5 schools in Oakland County that will add the new advanced college level African American Studies class to their course load next year. So we are really proud and really excited to announce that. I meant to mention it at Board Matters, but we have a lot of things going on, and considering the climate of this country as we are suppressing history, I think it is awesome that we lift the fact that we are ensuring that we are teaching history as it truly was and is still evolving. So I wanted to say congratulations to Southfield Public Schools for being one of those 5 schools in Oakland County. I think that's awesome. And I know Dr. Green has an announcement to piggyback off of that as well.
Thank you, Board President. It's also my pleasure to serve the district on a national platform, as I have been recently appointed to the National College Board Superintendent Advisory Group, one of few representing the state of Michigan and representing all of the superintendents throughout the United States. So Southfield will have a voice at the table as we move forward with College Board.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Before you move on to the next item, I'm going to ask, as we continue to move forward with our updates throughout the district, that the agenda, the board agenda, specifically the monthly meeting, where there's a specific project, that it also lists the funding streams so that there's that transparency about how it's being funded, because you were mentioning like, oh, these are ESSDASTER, this is Head Start, this is the bond. So just
Absolutely.
that we become familiar, and the community starts to see, oh, okay, this is how those, that there's number
Absolutely.
one, multiple funding
Ways
streams.
in which we fund it.
Right.
And to your point, Secretary Smith-Thomas, on the individual reports, we do have the funding stream listed, but as we continue to do the updates, we will add that to it. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Physical transition. So there's a lot of movement slated to happen in the district. As you heard, we'll have the swing space. We will have Adler students going over to Eisenhower. A lot of transition, a lot of moving pieces. We do not want to inconvenience our Adler families any more than we already have to by relocating them to another facility for 1 year. Therefore, what we planned to do, and we still have to work out the details, is that we will afford families that are currently within the walking boundaries to Adler to continue to report to Adler, and we will transport the students from Adler to that of Eisenhower. We are not expecting our families to have to transport their children to Eisenhower. It is on the opposite side of our district. It is the school most west of in our district. So we are going to work out those transportation arrangements for those families. Also, for those families that currently receive transportation, they will continue to receive transportation to ensure that all of our scholars are able to get to Eisenhower in a timely manner. If parents do wish to have their children transported, then they will still be afforded the opportunity to drive them as well. That being said, we want to have an open house, not only for our teachers, but for our families, so that they can see the physical space where we are relocating our children for the year and ensure them that it is safe and satisfactory for their scholars' instructional academic year next year. Lastly, our teaching staff will have an opportunity to begin taking home their things soon. I've asked Phil to order boxes. We're going to ask all teaching staff between now and the end of the school year to take home all of their personal belongings, so that our construction teams that are in the building, our movers that we are going to hire to professionally move everything, will not be handling teachers' personal belongings. In addition to their personal belongings, we are going to ask that they label any instructional items that they will need to teach next school year at Eisenhower. It will be labeled with their name, their classroom, their grade level, or their content specific on the outside of the box. The boxes will remain at Adler until we receive the certificate of occupancy for Eisenhower. Once we receive the certificate of occupancy, we will have professional movers to take all of the boxes from Adler to that of Eisenhower to have the instructional materials there. Lastly, you heard Mr. Bukowski mention that we are going to receive furniture from another district to place at Eisenhower, to leave at Eisenhower for this 10-year process, so that we're not moving furniture or technology every time we have to move another school in and or out. So it will create a more stable environment and be more cost effective for us in the long run of the 10-year bond process.
So I just have a couple of asks. My first ask is that this be communicated to the staff, not only in person, so that they can ask questions, right? Because I'm sure there are things that happen in teachers' classrooms that we wouldn't even think of, right? Or they have class pets, or, you know, there's so much that goes on in a school, and I think we take for granted that it runs like a well-oiled machine. So I would ask that a representative from the district, from JWE, goes in and at least has that conversation with the staff so they can ask their questions. Also, if we can get them a timeline so that it's well communicated, the date that they must have things boxed and out. I would prefer to have it in writing and have a conversation so that they can have it steadfast in their head. I got to get this done by this time.
Absolutely.
And also for families, you know, we have lost and found items. I think my daughter has lost every water bottle that she ever owned in Stevenson. And then for the parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know the last day of school, they always say, come get your lost and found items. So that's another burden that I think the school may have. So I'm just trying to figure out what the process looks like and if we can share that with our staff in a timely manner.
Absolutely, and we will have those dates as soon as possible. Once we know the delivery of the boxes, we can begin that process as soon as possible. The date of which we would ask them to have everything removed would be the last day of school. Families as well, if you think you have some missing items and lost and found, if you haven't seen gloves, I know the weather was warm today, but you will need gloves again soon. It is Michigan. I hear the temperature is dropping back down to 50 next week and 30 in the evening, so the gloves may be needed next week. That being said, try to go and get those items as soon as possible. We cannot be responsible for anything having been left in the building over the summer. Again, we will have a number of trades coming through the building to do all of the work necessary to get the building to a satisfactory level. So we ask that they remove all those things. We will meet with the staff, we will meet with the community, we will meet with parents and address any questions that they have.
I know you're going to go through all of the logistics, but I did want to just make sure this was spoken, that the teachers be given opportunity. So on a PD day or however that looks, but
can't be a PD day according to the law. But we will make some arrangements.
Something that
we'll
that is a working time within working. Right.
We'll make some arrangements.
Okay.
We will definitely, as mentioned earlier, Ms. Babbage is in that building, and you may be reminded that she's the vice president of the SEA. So we'll be working in tandem with them to ensure that everything is done decent and in order.
I think, we can leave it there. Thank you.
I'm still a teacher at heart. I still have boxes in my garage.
And Doc, you have?
Emergency contingency.
Yes.
Trustees, I did send an email Monday of this week, as Mondays have become our all-day construction meetings. We discussed Eisenhower and some of the needs that we have there in that building, and everything is time sensitive given that we've not taken the projects out to bid, given that most construction companies, architects, et cetera, have already committed to districts for the summer. We really have 6 weeks to get a lot of work done in that building before the trades go and start on the projects for which they've already been awarded in other school districts. That having been said, we're asking your consideration for an emergency contingency in accordance with our board policy. I believe it's 6320 for emergency purchases. We will probably need a mechanical assessor come in, possibly an electrical, plumbing, et cetera, to tell us what it is we need to do, and then we're going to have a very quick turnaround time to get them in to actually start on that work. You will constantly receive updates, and with every board meeting, we will probably ask for some additional funds. However, the owner's reps did, Plant Moran Cressa, as a reminder, did mention that if we could have $100,000 emergency contingency to cover across the board with this immediate work, then that would be able to get us started. And as I mentioned in the board policy, there is an emergency contingency for the superintendent, with the caveat that it would be brought to the board at the next regular board meeting. We are committed to doing that, but we would like your blessing in advance, if possible, to move forward in that regard.
Trustees, Dr. Green has requested that we give approval for an emergency contingency of $100,000 per board policy 6320 for the work to be done at Eisenhower in order for it to be feasible for us to make this transition for our Adler students. Would anyone like to put a motion on the floor to make this an actionable item?
So moved.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported to make this as actionable. Trustees, is there any discussion surrounding what this emergency contingency entails other than what Dr. Green has already provided?
I'd just like to state for the community that this isn't the first time this has come up. We actually spoke about this, and as it relates to the timeline, and this definitely is not my wheelhouse, so I'm not going to try to elaborate on it. I just know that it has something to do with supply and demand and timing of things, and I know I certainly spoke to the fact that I don't want the policies of this district, meaning the dates that we meet, the times that we meet, to get in the way of what needs to happen for the district. So this did come up. This has been discussed before.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee.
Chair, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr.
Where the ball came right before you.
Dr. Green, can you just elaborate, and I may have missed that, the stream or revenue group that will come out of for the contingency plan?
You did not. Initially, it will come out of our general fund. However, once the bond dollars have been received, we'll be able to do a journal entry. I didn't want to get into the weeds on that, but we'll be able to do a journal entry and charge it back to the bond once that time approaches.
Trustee Holloway?
Yes, I just wanted to say, Dr. Green, I believe you probably have done your due diligence with all of this, and you crunched the numbers, so I have all the faith.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion regarding this actionable item?
Board President, not for discussion, but to keep our minutes in order, we assigned it a report number.
Oh,
just
thank
to
you.
ensure that we are able to track it moving forward. So that
Okay.
this will be report 6179.
Thank you.
It was not on there because it was a conversation,
Mhm.
so 6179 for our official minutes.
Thank you. Trustees, is there a motion on the floor to, it is open and approved.
We're in discussion.
We're in discussion now. Thank you. Any other discussion? Board Secretary, please call for the vote.
Trustee Belk?
Yes.
Trustee Bland?
Yes.
Trustee Holloway?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Ware DeVall? Yes. Unanimous.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Board President. The next item that I have is Report 6165, Michigan State University's Office of K-12 Outreach. For full transparency, while I am an alum of Michigan State University, this is separate and apart from me earning my degree there. Go Green. That having been said, and recognizing the need for additional support and mentorship and coaching at the building levels for our building level administrators, through our ESSER dollars, I am asking that we contract with retired administrators through Michigan State University to provide that necessary coaching for our administrators, not to exceed $112,500. This will be funded out of ESSER dollars.
Trustees, any questions regarding Report 6165? I do have one question. I know that in all our professional experience, you always hear that you have to continue to develop someone professionally. We have a lot of buildings and a lot of building leadership. So is there a priority base? I'm assuming we won't have coaches for all building leaders at the same time. So how will this be, what does this process look like for our leadership?
Excellent question, Board President. Our priority is that of Southfield High School for the Arts and Technology. We have recognized over the last several years through observation as well as through our data and that of our community feedback that the culture and climate within Southfield A&T needs some additional support. That being said, the coaches are being assigned to Southfield High School for the Arts and Technology first.
Thank you. Trustee Smith-Thomas?
Yes, I have a question as it relates to the institution. Would those participating, the admin participating in this program, would they be allowed to, through this, obtain a degree, certificate, or anything that would transfer in that regard?
No, this doesn't afford them that opportunity. This affords them direct contact with coaches and research professionals, industry professionals to help build their capacity in doing their optimal performance within their day-to-day operations. And also it affords them an opportunity, the coaches, to assess the building and provide feedback on areas that we can strengthen our organization within that respective school.
Any other questions, trustees? Hearing none.
Board President, while that is not an actionable item this evening, if you would be so kind, the sooner we get it approved, the sooner we can get the coaches assigned to begin working with our administrators. So if it pleases the board, and they would consider possibly adding that for action this evening.
Trustees, Dr. Green has asked that Report 6165 be opened and approved. Is there a motion on the floor? And just a reminder, the total amount for this service agreement shall not exceed $112,500.
To be funded out of grant dollars.
Out of grant dollars. Thank you, Ms. Rogers. Is there a motion on the floor?
Motion that we move 6165 to make it an actionable item.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Is there any other? You made it an action item. So is there any discussion for this action item before we open and approve it? I need a motion for that. Anyone?
So moved.
Thank you.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Board Secretary, please call for the vote.
Trustee Werderbaugh?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Holloway?
Yes.
Trustee Bland?
Yes.
Trustee Belk?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, trustees. The next item under the report of the superintendent is 6166, School of Choice Resolution. You will see the full resolution in your packet, whereby the district has participated in schools of choice for many years. This will afford our pupil accounting and pupil registration office to accept applications under 105C and 105. 105 affords us an opportunity to accept students within the county of Oakland through grades 9, again, pre-K through 9, and affords us an opportunity to accept students, particularly that of students in grades K, 1, 2, and 3, to ensure that we're able to keep our busy babies as they matriculate through the system under 105C. The C stands for contiguous counties, so that would afford us to bring students into the district from those contiguous counties in those respective grades.
Trustees, I just want to lift something that had come to my attention, and I lifted it with Dr. Green about a month ago. I had been approached by some parents who wanted to understand school of choice a little better, because I think it's dicey, right? What grades we accept, what contiguous counties mean. So I have asked that Dr. Green and her staff update our website to be a little bit more easily navigated, to explain school of choice and what that means and what the priority looks like and what the cutoff looks like, whether it's K through 3, 9, how that process goes with pupil accounting. So I did just want to lift that. I also want to lift, as we discuss this, is some of our neighbors are restricting their school of choice admissions, from what I heard. So I know this resolution is important as we look at making sure that everybody has equitable education.
And Board President, it's also important to note that through our Schools of Choice 105C, because it is an examination school, we afford an opportunity for students to apply and to be tested to attend the university middle school and high school academies as well. So we have 3 different schools of choice pieces happening in the district, and Board President and I have discussed, and we will try to make it as clear as possible on our website for an overview for the trustees and our listening audience this evening. Through Schools of Choice 105C, which stands for contiguous counties, we would accept students entering grades K, 1, 2, and 3 only. That means that, again, anyone in Oakland County or any of the contiguous or touching counties could apply for schools of choice. If anyone resides in Oakland County and they are in grades K through 9 or rising into that grade level, not currently in 9th grade going to 10th grade next year, but entering grades K through 9 in the fall of 2023, that would fall under 105 choice. And last but definitely not least, the 105C with assessments is exclusive to that of the University High School Academy and University Middle School Academy, because they are an examination school. So all 3 of those are spelled out in the resolution, and it continues with the district's practice. Again, we started Schools of Choice in Southfield back in 2001, and we've added some of the components over the years with the onset of the university, et cetera. However, if we do not have this resolution on file, we are not able to accept any of those students. And before we send out the acceptance letters for the U for this spring examination window, it was paramount that we brought this to the trustees' attention.
Trustees, do you have any questions for Dr. Green? Trustee Bell.
Through the chair. I just want to make sure that I'm clear. So for K through 3 entering into the district, we can accept children in touching counties, meaning all counties.
We can.
Okay, and for K through 9, only Oakland County School of Choice.
Well, there's an overlap there. So K3, it's Oakland County or contiguous counties. Rising 4th through 9th graders, it's exclusive to that of Oakland County only.
And what about high school level?
We do not have schools of choice for high school outside of University High School Academy, which is an examination school.
Thank you.
See why I want this on the website, because it's very confusing. And I think our families get confused, right? Especially considering university is a very coveted school. A lot of people want to enroll. So your questions were my questions times 3. I think I called Dr. Green 3 times to clear it up for me. So thank you for that.
And also to be clear with the difference between enrolling in a school district for school of choice from a contiguous county and being eligible for athletics. I get this all the time. The Michigan High School Athletic Association has their own standards for eligibility, separate and apart from a school district. So if you are a young person wanting to enroll in Southfield Public Schools, you pass the exam for the University High School Academy, but do not reside in the Southfield boundary, you are not eligible to play sports. The eligibility requirements for the Michigan High School Athletic Association are different than that of the enrollment policies and procedures set forth by the Michigan Department of Education Pupil Accounting Manual. I did want to lift that into the conversation.
Be on the website. Right. You see where I'm going? Trustees, it sounds like we need to make this also, we need to make it actionable to open and approve. Is there a motion to open and approve report 6166? And keep me clean, Board Secretary. Make sure that I
So
said that
moved.
one right.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Board Secretary, please call for the vote.
Trustee Holloway? Yes. Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Trustee Rardavall? Yes. Trustee Bland?
Yes.
Trustee Belk? Yes. Unanimous.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Board President and trustees assembled. In the interest of time, number 5E, the Head Start Director's Report, trustees, that was emailed to you all, and it is also included in your binder. We do have the director and the assistant director, and oh, there's Ms. Jones back there too. Hi, Ms. Jones. Everyone is here from the BUSSY team tonight. If there are any questions regarding that report, if not, I ask that we move on in the interest of time.
Trustees, any questions on the Head Start Director's Report? And we do have 2 trustees that will be going to the Head Start Convention next month, so I know they'll have a lot of things to share with us as well in May. Any discussion? Hearing none.
That concludes the report of the superintendent.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Action items. We have the consent agenda, approval of minutes for March 6th, March 14th special board meeting, and March 14th regular board meeting. I think that was, is that a hearing on there? We're only approving March 14th, the regular, correct?
Yes, Madam President.
Thank you. So, trustees, on the agenda, we will only be approving the minutes for March 6th special board meeting and March 14th regular board meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion regarding the minutes from March 6th and March 14th? Hearing none. Board Secretary, will you please call for the vote?
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Trustee Rardavall? Yes. Trustee Belk? Yes. Trustee Bland?
Yes.
Trustee Holloway?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Unanimous.
Motion carried. Thank you. Next action item is Report 6167, Personnel Action Report. Is there a motion to open and approve Report 6167?
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion regarding the Talent Management Personnel Action Report? Hearing none. Board Secretary, please call for the vote. Oh, no, you're good. And you know what, I would like to, give everyone a minute, if you haven't reviewed it, to look it over before we approve it.
Do we have a plan for number 9?
Through the chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we do have a plan for number 9. Trustees, you may recall that I asked via email that we be afforded the opportunity to move forward with a replacement position for that individual to ensure that we have continuity of services. What that would entail is us posting and hiring someone before this individual actually transitions out of the organization, to ensure that we have some succession planning happening and that we don't drop any balls, especially given the fact that we are still trying to deal with the learning loss after the pandemic.
I had another question regarding number 11.
Yes.
As it relates also to number 9. Is that, do you see I don't want to say
Duplication of
overlap.
effort?
Yeah, but is there a way that number 11 supports number 9 in the meantime as a part of that transition plan?
Absolutely. Number 11 is supporting quite a few divisions right now, and moving forward, the intent will be to eliminate the current position of number 9 and onboarding an executive director of academics, so that there's not 2 individuals in a similar role for duplication.
Yep.
And also to save some, have some savings on the budget.
I only have one question as it pertains to what you just said about the executive director. In doing so, is there any conversation about what manpower looks like? I know we've had a lot of conversations about work-life balance, and is there any conversation to kind of move our organization around to spread, to not spread people so thin? I get it. I see your face. But we have a lot of buildings, right? And I mean, K-8 alone is a big lift, and we have more than one. So I was just wondering if we'll see a different organizational structure coming in the future.
Absolutely. We will be reorganizing the duties and responsibilities of the new instructional, or the new executive team as we continue this work. Once we're able to get the bond up and underway, once we're able to have a COO in position, we will definitely provide you with a revised organizational plan.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Number 7, I'm just wondering, because we just sort of lifted that. Do we have any leads or any?
We have several applicants, and we will begin to schedule those interviews next week. We had some scheduled for this past Monday. Unfortunately, Mondays have become construction Mondays in Southfield Public Schools. So if any of you call me on Mondays, you probably won't reach me, but I will get back with you. We literally start the morning at 8 o'clock with construction meetings and go until 5 o'clock on Mondays.
Trustees, any other discussion?
Through the chair. Number 10.
Yes.
Okay. It says that the position has been eliminated.
Yes.
So the funds, what happens to those, the funding?
The funding is part of the general fund, and that department is reorganizing as well to support the needs of the district as we move forward. So you will, again, as part of the new reorg chart, see other positions that will support the work that we have to do here in the district. We have to, with that particular position, we have to be very intentional in who provides services and do background checks, et cetera. We've had a number of audits with the state, internal audits, and then also with the state level. So there are constantly changing laws, and we have to make sure that we are providing the best support to have those individuals in front of our students that meet the strictest standards.
Trustees, is there any other discussion?
I'm happy to see number 4, specifically the parentheses.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. Board Secretary, please call for the vote.
Trustee Weird-Duval?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Holloway?
Yes.
Trustee Belt?
Yes.
Trustee Bland?
Yes.
Myself, yes, unanimous.
Motion carried. Thank you. Report 6168, Oakland Schools Budget Resolution. No, this is a long one. So I believe we were sent this a while
You
ago
were.
and we
You
walked
were.
through it.
It's several
line
packets
by, yes.
long. Essentially, the budget goes, it's preliminarily presented to that of the Oakland Schools trustees. As you may recall, they have their own Board of Education. Once they agree on it, they send it to all 28 districts being supported by Oakland Schools for your consideration and for your support. With the support of the majority of their districts, they're able to move forward with the budget for Oakland Schools, of which many of our services come at no cost to the district. They do support the districts equitably relative to my peer, relative to cybersecurity support, et cetera, separate and apart from the contracted services that we have with technology, with some of our other areas. So this is the supports that they provide all the districts throughout the county.
Yes.
Chair, says open school, we're talking about that one right now, right?
We are talking about the
Okay.
Oakland Schools
I had a
budget, yes.
question about school safety, the school safety officers.
Yes.
Where are they located? I
So the
didn't see
school
that.
safety officers in, that Oakland County provide, they're providing them to districts that don't have their own relationship with their local authority. There are some school districts in Oakland County that are not large enough. They don't have their local law enforcement. They don't have those partnerships. We actually have a partnership with our local law enforcement, so we would not be eligible for one of the Oakland County sheriffs to come to our district. That is for some of the other districts that don't have relationships such as the one we have with Southfield Police Department.
Thank you.
Trustees, any other questions? Hearing none. I don't think that this was, yeah, it is good information. I don't think that we had a motion to open and approve this one yet.
So moved.
Thank you.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none. Board Secretary, please call for the vote.
Trustee Belk?
Yes.
Trustee Bland?
Yes.
Trustee Holloway?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Weird-Duval?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Motion carried. Report 6169, NWEA MAP licenses for the 23-25 school year.
2 years.
2 years, good. So the impact to the district will be $34,100. This is an interim growth assessment for grades 9 through 12. Does anyone have any, oh, we need to open and approve. Report 6169. You know what, we have a couple of them that look like they are Summer's
do.
World. Do we
We
want to
do.
group them? It looks like 61, 69, 70, 71, and 72 all are
From instruction
an assessment instruction
and support.
and support. So may I have a motion to open and approve report 61, 69, 70, 71, and 72?
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion, any questions regarding these? I know some of them are very familiar to us.
Board President, if it pleases the board, I can give a very high-level overview of each of them.
Sure.
And we do have the content experts here this evening as well. It's important to note, as Secretary Smith-Thomas mentioned earlier, that our funding sources are important and attached to some of these. The NWA grant specifically, or the NWA benchmark assessment, is specifically funded through the benchmark grant that we received from the state. So we want to make sure that we are meeting those deadlines to encumber the funds in a timely manner, and that's why we've asked for a 2-year period. So that will not have an impact on the district's general fund. It will be specific to that of the grant. We used the NWA assessment at the high school level because we did not have one, with iReady being our K-8 assessment. The next one is the Edmentum Study Island and our Reading Eggs licenses. We use that for our EL population, so you'll see that under the funding source for that. It's out of our Title III grant. It's $2,000. Technically, according to our board policy, it's under $5,000. So again, while we don't have to bring a lot of things forward, we're very transparent, and we believe in being transparent, not only for our trustees but for our community. So we brought that forward as well. The same with that of the Brain Pop. You can see that that is being funded out of our Section 41 grant, which is our migrant grant, and that is, again, $1,155. Again, didn't have to bring them forward, but we do bring them forward because we want you to, and our community, to be aware of what we're doing here in the district. As with the Ed Helper, again, $359, but it's instructional. It's important for you to know what's happening in our district instructionally, and we wanted you to have this information. So thank you, Board President, for bringing it forward together so that we can continue the services specifically throughout the summer. If we don't renew these licenses, then the services would end for our scholars June 30th. And with our EL population, many of them go back to their home countries over the summer, and we want them to be able to continue their learning from those respective locations when they're not with us over the summer.
Trustees, any discussion or questions regarding any of these? Hearing none. Board Secretary, would you please call for the vote?
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Weardevall? Yes. Trustee Belk?
Yes.
Trustee Bland?
Yes.
Trustee Holloway?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Motion carried. Information items. We have report 6173, Unified Talent, Professional Learning Enterprise.
Board President?
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
Just real quick. What is that keeps going off? Is that the air conditioning or that's the heat?
That's the air. The heat, we did turn off the HVAC. It is confused.
But does it work?
It's confused. And for the record, we did turn off all of the HVAC systems in the district this evening, given that our scholars will be testing tomorrow, and research shows that in extreme conditions, our scholars will get sleepy, they will not test well, so we have shut off all HVAC district-wide today to ensure that the buildings will not be extremely hot tomorrow when our scholars are testing. Those are things that most people don't have to think about, but we do until we get these upgrades in place. So. But we'll have to turn them back on next week when temperature drops again.
So we have Unified Talent and no air.
That's not included in this information item, and we'll move through this quickly. As you see, the alignment is to expand and restructure job admitted professional development for all staff, and it's to the tune of $12,712.58 for fiscal year 23. It's additional professional learning opportunities for staff. A way in which we can track it to make sure that they're getting their appropriate credit hours for their renewal of their teacher certifications, as Trustee Smith-Thomas lifted earlier today.
Understood. Report 6174, proposal of new secondary 10th grade NAF Health Science Academy course offerings?
Yes, we call that NAF.
NAF. Got
This
it.
is something that many have heard about for the last couple years. We actually introduced the NAF Academies just before the pandemic, and unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we were not able to get them underway because what is extremely important to the process is that of having advisory boards for each of the academies that we implement at the high school. So this is the first one of our academies. We are asking for your blessings to move forward with this. We have received some grant dollars to offset some of the costs. We've had some teachers go to training, and we'd like to continue down this path to ensure that we meet our motto of Southfield Public Schools being a Diploma Plus district, meaning that everyone will graduate from Southfield Public Schools with a Diploma Plus college credit or a Diploma Plus a certificate to be able to go out into the real world and obtain employment.
Dr. Green, is this something that possesses some urgency from us?
Everything within education possesses a sense of urgency. The sooner we get it approved, the sooner we can continue the work. The recommendation, as you see on the back of that page, is health careers, exploration, and global health.
That's
So
awesome.
we would like to get students recruited for those for that specific academy and get them started.
Trustees, if it is the wish of the board, would someone like to make a motion to open and approve Report 6174?
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Is there any other discussion regarding this report?
The only other thing I would like to lift is you'll see under the impact amount, the current staff only, we already pay the staff, so we're not paying anything additional. This is the staff that we currently employ, and the year of planning, as you see, is being fully funded by the Michigan Department of Education.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yes, it is.
Exciting.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. Board Secretary, please call for the vote.
Trustee Boat?
Yes.
Trustee Bland?
Yes.
Trustee Holloway?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Joyce?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Ware DeVos? Yes. Unanimous.
Motion carried. I see a lot of E-rate that are bunched together. Our report 6175 through 77, something that could be provided all at the same time?
Absolutely.
I
And
see him
Mr.
coming.
Prescott has been waiting all evening to come and speak with you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So yes, we have three reports or three projects that we would like to present tonight and get your blessing to move forward with. They're all E-rate eligible. For those of you that don't know, E-rate is a federal program that allows school districts and public entities, public libraries, to take advantage of some funds available to provide internet services at a discounted cost. Southfield's discounted rate is about 80%. So any project that is approved by E-rate and fully funded, we'll get up to 80% of the dollars back that we spend. So it costs the districts about 20%. Excuse me. The first project is structured cabling project, which is just internet cable to deliver internet from the network closets to the classrooms. This is going to be done at Eisenhower as part of bringing that building back online. There's also some other cabling that's going to be done throughout the district to provide enhancements for safety and security. We went out to bid. We had 2 qualified bidders. A third bidder only submitted a partial bid. Nerds Express, as you'll see on the recommendation, makes me smile every time I say it. The president and founder of the company is a Southfield Public Schools graduate. He went to Leonard, he went to Bernie, and he graduated from Lathrop.
Good job.
Yep. So I was really excited when this is a vendor we've never worked with before. They've been on the project. They were the low bid. We did some reference checks just to make sure everything checked out and we were comfortable moving forward, which we are. So that project is just over $108,000. Again, about up to 80% of that will come back through the E-rate program once it's approved. Are there any questions about that one?
I have a question.
Sure.
You said this is a new vendor?
It's a new vendor it's a vendor that I haven't worked with and hasn't worked in Southfield before.
For clarification, not new as in new to business.
No, they've-
just new to our district.
Yep, they've been in business for, I believe he said 15 years. And they have, their main headquarters are downtown. They have an office just down the street. They've done a project actually larger than this, the Michigan Credit Union. They did the cabling for them as well. So that was one of the references that I called, and they provided a glowing recommendation. Yes. Yep. You're welcome. Any other questions?
Trustee Joyce?
After, hey, Mr. Prescott, so after Eisenhower, you're going to be doing Adler. Does Adler need anything there?
If it does, it'll be done at the tail end of construction.
Okay,
So-
Right.
yes. that's
So,
right.
so yes, what we would typically do is come in after everything's ripped apart and been put back together so that none of it gets damaged or cut. So our cabling's usually one of the last things that goes in.
However, they will come in through a secondary vendor and remove all of those large obsolete televisions that are in the
Yes.
corner of Adler.
Yes.
That is part of the plan.
Yep. Are there any other questions on this one? Would you like me to just go through all three of them? All right. The next one is for wireless internet at Eisenhower. Again, an E-rate program. We went out to bid. We only received one bid, which I anticipated. We were pretty specific. We have a wireless system throughout the district already, and we wanted to maintain that continuity. So again, the cost, just over $36,000. People-Driven Technologies would be the vendor that we would like to have this awarded to. Again, we've worked with them before and have no issue with any of their work. I will caution, there is a fairly long lead time on wireless access points right now. It's anywhere from, I'm seeing 100 to 120 days. So it's going to be tight, but we can get it done. Are there any questions on that one? All right, and the final one is for network switches. Again, E-rate eligible. We only received one bid. As we expected, we have a certain manufacturer of switch that we have throughout the district, so we are very specific on our ask. Just over $81,000, and that, again, is going to put network switches back in Eisenhower to bring it online, as well as provide some switches in other buildings that are going to be used as we enhance kind of the safety and security aspects as well. So that one is just over $81,000 to Delta Network Services. Are there any questions on that one?
Yes.
Sure. Yes. Delta Networking Services? Yes.
So Trustee Holloway,
Yeah.
they actually did the switches throughout our entire district. We didn't need them at Eisenhower at the time because Eisenhower was offline. Now we're just asking for continuity of service to be provided there at Eisenhower.
And we've used Delta Network Services throughout 17 of the districts that we support.
In Oakland
throughout
County.
Oakland County. Any other questions?
I have none, but I will ask the trustees, based on the timing that we just heard of those lead times, this is roughly $226,000 worth of work that needs to get done. If it be the board's wish, I would like to ask that we move this to actionable and we open up and approve this so they can get this work started.
So moved.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and supported. Trustees, is there any other discussion or questions for Mr. Prescott? Hearing none, thank you, Mr. Prescott.
Thank you.
Board Secretary, will you please call for the vote?
Trustee Holloway.
Yes.
Trustee Bland.
Yes.
Trustee Belk.
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Trustee Joyce.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Ware DeVaughn.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Board President. It's also important to note for the community, while it's $226,059 for this work to be done, again, with the 80% E-rate reimbursement, it is only costing our general fund $45,000.
That's awesome.
$45,211.80 to be exact. That's why we've been extremely successful in moving our rating up to that of an A. You've heard all throughout the evening this is going to this grant, that's going to that grant. We apply for every grant that comes across our desk to make things happen for our scholars. And through your fiscal responsibility and your fiduciary responsibility that you've supported us with, you've been successful. And I just want to reiterate that, not just for you, but for the community. That's extremely important.
Report 6178, MacArthur K-8 parking lot catch basin repair.
Did we put that on there? Oh, just
You
kidding.
did.
Now, that unfortunately will be funded out of general dollars. Yeah.
Dr. Green, did you want to talk about this? Maybe Trustee Belt can speak to it.
I think everyone sitting
everyone
at
on
this
this
table
we
can
all
speak
can
to
speak
that parking
this
lot.
repair. Yes. My goodness.
Yeah. One of the things that I will lift that is extremely important is that of the catch basin. For those that are familiar with parking lots, the catch basin is around the perimeter of the parking, and we're concerned for the safety of the students because the catch basin is open to the extent that a very small person could possibly get injured in that catch basin. So this is extremely important for safety reasons.
Based on what we just heard, I would like to ask that we will open and approve Report 6178, MacArthur K-8 parking lot catch basin repair. Trustees?
So moved.
It's been properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion or questions regarding this report?
Question.
Yes.
When will this start?
As soon as we can get the contractors in to do the work, so hopefully after the students are dismissed for the summer and before they return in the fall. You heard Mr. Bukowski mention the parking lot piece, so that is actually separate and apart from the catch basin. This is just that of the catch basin to ensure that we don't have any young person get caught in that area. The parking lot piece will be coming back to you in the very near future.
Trustees, any other discussion? Hearing none. Board Secretary, please call for the vote.
Trustee Werdeval.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Joyce.
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Trustee Holloway.
Yes.
Trustee Bland.
Yes.
Trustee Belt.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Motion carried. Thank you. We have G&H, the financial report and monthly bill disbursement. I will save Dr. Green the trouble. I see Mr. Ingram is here. Trustees, you received this in your email. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Ingram or Dr. Green? There are no questions at this time. Public participation. If you wish to address the board regarding a school-related issue that has not yet been resolved by school administration, please submit a comment card immediately. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. As a matter of fairness, speakers with complaints against individuals are asked not to mention any persons by name. Complaints concerning employees pursuant to Board Policy 9130 should be brought to the attention of school principals or other administrators before coming to the Board of Education. Your cooperation is appreciated. Betty Robinson. She's going.
Good evening, everyone. A lot of my concerns are listed on your agenda. However, there are a few things that I would also like to lift. Before I do that, I know that the board instituted a 3-minute speak for participants. We did that 10 years ago to eliminate people who are combative, abusive, or what have you. But we also allow parents and homeowners to finish their conversation without interruption. So I'm asking the senior board members like Leslie Love Smith and Mr. Joyce to allow me, if I go over 3 minutes, to allow me to do that. Okay? Thank you. One of my first things is the bond dollars, and I listened to Mr. Bukowski, and I didn't get complete clarification on the Lathrop campus parking lot. When did he state they were going to completely start the renovation of the parking lot? Because that parking lot is awful. You can tap your tires on your cars and whatever in that. The whole entire complex needs to be redone. So if you can give the parents who attend Southfield Lathrop Cancer an idea of when that will be started, we'll appreciate it. Also, Busty Center. I'm here again regarding Busty Center. I have a granddaughter who will be attending Busty next year, and I just want to make sure that all the ducks in a row and everything is available, and we have the qualified teachers to teach our students, because right now we don't have qualified teachers. Last year I attended a Busty pre-K kindergarten in Oakland County, and they're offering their students Mandarin Chinese. We don't offer any foreign language in our pre-K, and that's a problem. The federal government dollars provide you to purchase any curriculum activity that you need for your students, and if you don't spend that money, it goes back to the district. And the next year, they will not give you as much money. So I'd like to see us offer a foreign language to our students. You know, they can learn if it's taught, and if it's taught by qualified staff. They need to be ready for a kindergarten when they get to our other schools. And right now, that's not happening. I just heard recently, I didn't get your personnel report, that we lost our personnel director. So in the last 4 years, I understand that we've had 4 different human resource director, and if you can tell us why, I would appreciate that. And going forward, have you sent out applications for applicants? Okay. Mr. Joyce mentioned the safety protocol for the building. I appreciate that, bringing that up. We also have a problem with exiting staff members. We seem to be losing all of our good staff members, and I need to know why, because they're being hired by other school districts, and that's a problem. We need to keep our good teachers right here in this district. Some of those teachers who left.
Excuse me, Ms. Robinson.
My teachers, my kids.
I know
Yes.
you asked for the 2 senior board members to allot you the time, but we are a board of 7.
I understand that.
So I do want to be respectful of the other board members. If you do not mind, Ms. Robinson, continuing on with her discussion, I just would like to be fair. While I have the utmost respect for both of those board members, there are 7 of us on this panel. Are you okay with that?
Thank you, I appreciate it, because I'm also a parent, a homeowner, and I pay taxes, and I also help elevate the bond product, the bond issue that has not been passed. So anytime a parent or taxpayer from Southfield come to speak to you, they should be allowed to speak, because their dollars support the school district. I haven't heard a curriculum update. I was here last in September, and I made a comment about the curriculum was not was not completed, and I was told that it was. And after the meeting, I talked to the curriculum director, and she said it's not completed. 2 weeks ago, I talked to 2 teachers who said it's still not completed. So I need some information on the curriculum. When would that be completed? Because we had a charge for that to be done 4 years ago, and it's still not done. I need to know also, are our scores available for academic improvement on math and reading? Can we get that? We used to get a report on that, and parents haven't received that yet. Okay, and let's see. Also, if you can send out a report or to the principals to let us know, homeowners know about the bond issue, the money that's being utilized. When is the parking lot going to be fixed? What's the next in line? We used to have a listing of everything that was to be repaired and the order that it was to be repaired, and it was sent out to the homeowners. We haven't had that. We appreciate to know where our dollars are being utilized. That's all we ask, because we approve the bond issue. So I think we deserve to know when and where our dollars are going to be repaired, are going to be spent. Thank you, and I appreciate your time.
For the good of the order, trustees, does anyone have anything for the good of the order? Hearing none. Future meetings. Wednesday, April 12th, 2023, special board meeting. That is a student hearing. Tuesday, April 25th, 2023, we have a study session at 6 p.m. I said Tuesday, April 25th.
Okay,
That's
she thought you said 23.
Oh, no. 2023, sorry. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and this meeting is adjourned at 9:15.